Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your patience as we get started here. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Nick Ashton, and I am the Chief Program Officer at the United Way of the Greater Triangle. And this is our third installment of our Unwrapped series, which is a creative way to continue to tell the story virtually of some of the most impactful nonprofits in the Triangle. This week, we'll be talking about food and how food serving organizations are adjusting and still meeting the needs of community in our current environment. Our host for today will be Jeff Howell, who's on the United Way team. And so I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey, y'all, sorry, we're just waiting for Alan to be able to join our meeting in here. So my name is Jeff Howell. I am our leader of program performance at the United Way. I work directly with our impact team to make sure that we're providing the most equitable grant-making systems possible and changing how we do our funding in the area. So we do have three dynamic, amazing nonprofit leaders joining us today. So we have Maggie with A Place at the Table, we have Alan with Meals on Wheels, we have Lisa with Urban Ministries. And so if y'all could just take a moment and introduce yourself and share kind of a brief overview. And as a previous executive director, I know we can go on a long tangent about our mission and why we are the most important organization out there. So 30 seconds max, just brief overview. Maggie, if you want to start us off.
Yeah, we are definitely not the most important, that's for sure. We are thankful to be among several awesome nonprofits. My name is Maggie Kane, and I am the executive director of A Place at the Table. We are a pay what you can nonprofit cafe in downtown Raleigh at 300 West Hargett Street. Our mission is community and good food for all, regardless of means, and we do that through a pay what you can system. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be with y'all.
Lisa, would you like to go next?
Sure. I am Lisa Jones, Director of Crisis Programs for Urban Ministries of Wake County. We have three core programs. We operate the largest free and charitable clinic in the community, the largest shelter for single homeless women in Wake County, and the second largest food pantry in Wake.
And Alan, don't worry, you're definitely not the least, but if you could go ahead and introduce yourself. Alan, if you're trying to speak, you are on mute.
So, Nick told me not to be talking too much, so thank you. Hey, so Meals on Wheels in Wake County, as well as the other Meals on Wheels programs in the Triangle, it's our mission to deliver food to homebound senior adults and provide social connections.
Alan, you have that nailed down in like a quick 10-second elevator.
Nick told him not to talk too much.
So Maggie, our first question is actually going to be directed towards you. And so you founded our area's first Pay What You Can cafe, and it's been wildly successful. Your strategy relies on patrons to purchase meals for themselves or to donate them to someone in need. So with social distance practices in place, weren't able to dine in at restaurants or have been hesitant to dine in since restaurants began reopening. How has this affected your work, and what's something that our audience today might be surprised to learn about that?
Sure, yes. Well, if you've driven by 300 West Hargett Street, you will see a line of about 50 people at all times. So it's you can just see how different it is right now and how much there's a great need. We, if you had been to A Place at the Table prior, and I can't see everyone on here, so I can only see a few people. So I don't know, but who else is on this call? But if you've been to A Place at the Table, you pre-March, pre-COVID, you saw that when you walked in, you saw a normal menu and you know, a normal cafe, just like you would go to any cafe. and all of our prices were suggested prices. So people could pay what they can and then sit and enjoy a meal together. So currently with COVID, we had to adjust and pivot just like everyone else. And so we had to limit our days and times because we started to see such an increase of the amount of folks who needed a meal. If you know any restaurant right now, you know that in general, restaurants are struggling, that people aren't eating out, they're getting less takeout. So we saw this huge change immediately. We had to cut out volunteering as well. And so we went totally curbside. People can call their order in or walk up, stand in line and get their food to go. We have our full menu that we're doing, and the food is awesome. But what we have seen is such an increase in the amount of folks who need a meal and who can come and pay what they can. And so we're doing about 300 free meals every single day. And that number is only increasing. Prior to COVID, we did about 60 to 70 free meals a day and many more pay what you can. Now it's about 300 free meals a day in 5 hours. So our kitchen is awesome and they are pushing out so many meals. Something surprising is on that same realm too of how COVID has changed us and affected us. Prior to COVID, we saw, I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but prior to COVID, 80% of our diners that were dining with us, or 70% of our diners that were dining with us were paying the suggested prices that we have on our menu or more, and 30% of people were not paying and or paying less, volunteering for their meal. Now with COVID, we're seeing about 80 to 85% of people who are not paying. And that's not paying anything. And then 15 to 20% of people are paying what they can. And so our model has flipped on its head and then some. And so it's just been a huge shock to what we are doing every day. We still believe we're so fortunate to be here, and we are finding a way to create community on 300 West Hargett Street. So I'll stop talking, but it's totally changed our whole model.
Well, and Maggie, from hearing you speak in a few different events, you speak about the power of food to really community, create connections with folks who wouldn't necessarily speak otherwise, right? And create that meaningful connection. How are you all adapting in the current times to try to replicate or find a way to create those connections?
Sure, absolutely. So we're open 5 hours a day now. Again, we had to limit our hours because of the amount of folks who were serving and because we don't have volunteers. So we at Table believe that we're creating community while eating together and or volunteering together, none of which we have right now. But we intentionally build relationships on the curb. So we know people's names. Out of those 300, we know many, many, many of their names. We are getting to know them. We are a safe place for people to come and know that they're going to be seen and heard and welcomed. So the first thing we're going to do is say hey and introduce ourselves. We also, one of the best compliments I can get is someone just messaged me, and he's kind of an introvert, and so I'm surprised. And he said, "Y'all are doing some really cool things. I just stood in line for about 20 minutes, and I had some great conversations in line." And so we're seeing people connect just by waiting in line for their food. So we're trying to do that. We're going to host a pop-up. We used to do pop-ups years and years ago to build community and build relationships. But now we're going to host a pop-up across the street and put tables out there and intentionally have people social distance sit together and so try to build community doing that too. But we're just taking every day to at least try to be a place where people feel safe and heard and that they are loved and cared for when they walk up. It's hard though. It's not easy.
And with this massive increase in folks who are not able to pay their meals, is that attributed to job loss? Is that folks are just unable to go in other places and you are one of the few places still providing a hot meal like this? Do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, a combo of all of the above, right? There are some awesome organizations who are still providing meals, but there are some that haven't been able to reopen that are not, open for as they were before. So we're seeing a lot of folks who would normally be in some of those places. We are seeing a lot more families who, we've partnered with the school system, we've partnered with Boys and Girls Clubs and some other places. So to get our name out there even more. So a lot of families who have, realized that on the weekends, where's a good dignified meal coming from. So we've just been trying to build our partnerships with local nonprofits to get the word out there about what we're doing, so people can find out about us. We see a lot of people coming in. There was a guy yesterday who said, yeah, I was working at K&W, and I think we all saw that K&W finally closed, which is so sad. And so I just think, yeah, unemployment rate, families who, Lisa will be able to speak a lot about this, but families that are in hotels, that are finding out about us, and I just think it's been almost 6 months now, so it's all compounding for everyone, and so we only see those numbers actually going up every day.
And then one last follow up, and I promise I'll let you catch your breath for a minute.
No, you're fine.
So something that Nick and I like to focus on whenever we have these conversations with our partners are to get out of this deficit mindset. What is like a real strength in our community that you've noticed through this pandemic?
Oh my gosh, that I think if I was speaking just for Table, but I think it Table's an example of the whole community and how great it is. This community rallies around together for sure. We support each other. We care about each other. You know how I told you that 80% of people aren't paying for their meals, but we are okay, and we're here, and we have such community support through y'all at United Way, through individuals, through lots of different folks. They have stepped in and really truly supported us and made sure we were going to still be here. And I think the Raleigh community just cares about each other and wants to see each other succeed and thrive. So for me, I think about that every day is like, let's focus on how good we as friends and neighbors in this community are.
Great. Thanks, Maggie. And for folks listening in, if you have any questions for Maggie or any of our panelists, feel free to drop it in the chat. Nick and I will be watching that, and we have some time at the end that we can circle back and get to those questions. Alan, and I hope you're not brief on these. This is your time to shine, and so please share. So Meals on Wheels of Wake County provides an incredible service, providing daily meals to homebound older adults and persons with disabilities. That effort requires years. How have you all adapted while still sharing your team is leading the needs of the community?
Right. So at Meals on Wheels, we traditionally are working with people who are homebound, who are isolated, who are not connected very much anymore to the community. And so that food is critical for healthy outcomes, for better nutrition, for all of those things. So, the food is the product we deliver, but because we daily use between 125 and 150 volunteers to get those meals out into the community, those social connections, those relationships that volunteers are building, are just as important. Those are the two things. And so, again, as people have seen and heard in the news, senior adults are recognized as a vulnerable population. And I'll tell you, the seniors in our communities are taking heed. They really are staying at home, isolating, and protecting their health. To that end, we have seen an additional 400 people in April, May, and June who called and want to apply to be in the Meals on Wheels program. And so we've been able to really address that, to get people food into their homes so that they can stay at home, they can remain healthy. What we have done, though, is instead of delivering meals 5 days a week, we deliver all of our food once a week. And that limits the contact between volunteers and participants. But we continue to rely on volunteers, and our volunteers have really stepped up. We modified our whole delivery model. Instead of coming into a building getting your to-go bag with hot meals and your cooler with the cold food. We do it all in a parking lot, just like curbside dining, so that a volunteer just pulls up, we load the food into the person's vehicle, and the person goes and makes those deliveries. We provide hand sanitizer, gloves, cloth masks to all of our volunteers. So again, we're trying to be as healthy as possible. In addition to that, the food and the meals, we're also getting supplemental food out to the community for people who are not leaving their homes. We've provided fresh produce. We've provided grocery bags. We've worked with at least one food truck, and the food truck is cooking for some participants a hot meal that we take with the other meals, so that's ready to eat in addition to the food that people are giving. We also been collecting and distributing personal care items for people, hand sanitizer, cloth masks, getting those things that people need in their homes to a group of people who probably most of the time are not on Amazon. So we are the local option for that. So again, and I would just say, as a staff person at a local nonprofit back in March the 3rd, you try to figure out how all of this would play out. And because volunteers play such an important role in the Meals on Wheels delivery model, I was very concerned about that. I will tell you, this community has stepped up. People have come for the first time to deliver meals. People continue to come. And so that's very, very encouraging. Just the same, folks have given money to the COVID-19 Relief Fund at United Way and others. The community stepping up, because we do not charge for any of our meals. That was a big concern too, especially as we added 400 new people into our program. But at this point in time, we are good to go. And so I'm just really glad to be a part of such a generous community.
And Alan, I think one large concerns with elderly neighbors is this sense of isolation, right? And that there are folks that we can check in on. Do you have any insight into how integral your volunteers and delivery folks are in this?
So right, so the other thing that we're doing that gets us all of the food, but we have been trying to maintain those social connections as well. And so we have our staff people calling when we're not visiting people's homes. They're calling to check in on them. We're trying to connect them with COVID-19 resources, getting them to call 211, helping make connections, things like that. And so volunteers really, and some volunteers who have done it regularly already have relationships, and they are nurturing those relationships outside of the regular delivery day. So people are, we're working and trying to identify the people who need us the most, people in this community who have no other support network. So we've worked and delivering, we've delivered just some cards from community groups that are just expressing concern, expressing camaraderie, letting our people know that they are remembered, even if they can't get out and be a part of the community, they are still remembered.
And I think a common thread that we're seeing between everybody is this power of food, right? How can this really let down your guard, form relationships that are true relationships, and really learn about each other, right? How we can come together. So Alan, the same final question is, and you can't steal Maggie, you've already tried. What is one strength in our community that you've noticed during this time?
So I will say this too, as we reinvented ourselves, as we responded to the operating environment, it has been, we've been very fortunate to be in a resource-rich community. You know, for us, we actually share space with another program, Interfaith Food Shuttle, that does feeding. We have strengthened our partnership and collaboration with them to get the food that they have out into the community. You know, we too, we're very close to the state farmers market where we've had access to fresh produce. There are other groups in the community that are working to get fresh produce out into the community. And so while we do not have that food, you know, we certainly have the distribution channel for it. And so we've been very impressed by the number of groups, individuals, and organizations that have stepped up and want to partner with us. So just, you know, and when we're doing business in the same operating model, sometimes we weren't as excited about identifying these new partnerships and relationships. So I hope that what we're developing now will be able to continue well into the future, working with groups like this.
Perfect. Thank you, Al. All right. So Lisa, you've had a minute to kind of think about and hear the questions that we've been asking our other panelists. So you get a little bit of an advantage, but also can't steal any of their answers. So
Right.
we'll see how this goes. So outside of your health clinic and fully stocked pharmacy, Urban Ministries of Wake County also offers a client choice food pantry where clients can shop for fresh fruit, vegetables, meat, and pantry staples from within your facility. How has your team shifted to ensure that clients still have access to the amount of food they need?
I feel like since March, we've been on a daily shift, like every day is shifting. If not daily, it's weekly. And with operating 3 service programs, and I know today is about food, so I will try and stay focused on food. But we've had to shift for 3 programs. And I don't think any of us could have imagined the impact that this pandemic was going to have on our community, from the increased need that we're seeing, the disruptions in access to donated foods that typically come in, and interruptions to all of our programs. So we've shifted briefly on our other programs, our clinic, from in-person to telehealth. Our shelter has gone from operating 1 location to having to have 3 locations to serve the same number of women. And for our client choice food pantry, it unfortunately means we can't do client choice. We have to do a drive-through curbside pickup model for safety. So in spite of all the challenges of the decreased food and the increased need, I feel like Urban Ministries is continuing to meet the challenge head on. You know, when it began in mid-March, we closed the doors to inviting clients in. We began focusing on how we were going to meet what we knew was going to be an increased need. We had no idea exactly how much that need was going to be. Pre-pandemic, families could utilize our services once every 90 days. We've gone to allowing families to come once a month, and sometimes more frequently if the need arises. We're seeing more and more neighbors from, you know, walks of life that we never saw before, families that have never visited a food pantry before. And so as more and more of our neighbors are making difficult choices, we don't want food to have to be one of them. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to gain access to food. It's been challenging. Our partners that typically supply the majority of our food and our donations, our drives are down because of the pandemic. So we've had to be really creative. We've initiated unique partnerships with wholesale distributors that allows us to purchase food at greatly reduced prices, which just allows us to mitigate the effect of the fewer donations and serve a larger number. So we're able to supply a week's worth of groceries for a family of 4 that includes fresh frozen meat, dairy, produce, and dry goods. So we're very fortunate, like Maggie and Alan said. This community is amazing. United Way, other funders have been amazing through this. So it's the support is there, but we've all had to adapt and learn how. Like, you know, Urban Ministries has been around a while. A lot of our community members count on us, and we knew that shutting our doors was not an option. It was just a matter of figuring out how to keep them open safely for everyone, and how to meet that need.
And Lisa, could you, and I know you're unable to do it right now because of safety measures, but could you talk about the importance of client choice in food pantries, and
Absolutely.
what that provides?
Yes. So client choice means 50% less food waste. So, and many food pantries in the Midwest, they started this years ago. You actually cannot be a partner of any food bank unless you are client choice, because of the amount of waste that just packing up bags and giving to families. No one knows what someone else's family eats. So giving someone food that they may or may not use isn't really helpful to anyone. It's also a matter of client respect, right? I don't judge you for what you and your family eat. Now, we work very hard to make sure that we have healthy choices in our pantry. So we choose brown rice over white rice. We took away about 50% of our canned goods and went with fresh produce. So last year in our food pantry, 52% of everything that went out our door was either fresh meat or fresh produce. So we give better options, but we allow families to choose for themselves.
And I think that's something that all of our organizations represented here do so well, is treat everybody with the same respect, right? And understanding that though you might not be in a strong financial situation right now, you still have preferences and needs and what you would enjoy to eat. And there's something about food and the joy of food that I think really provides some uplifting moments in our community.
Absolutely.
So Lisa, you know, the final question for you, kind of what is this strength that you've seen in our community, and you can't steal Alan or Maggie's answer?
Well, this is where it gets harder for me, right? Because it's exactly that. It is our community. You know, we have seen so many amazing stories and so many amazing things happen. Nonprofits coming together, volunteers, the community. We our doors at Urban Ministries are closed to clients and to most of our volunteer programs. Our food pantry still relies on volunteers. We still have 5 to 10 volunteers a day that come in and help us serve 90 cars a day and get ready for the 90 cars the next day. So it's really the strength of the people. Like, and those that can't come in and help are offering financial assistance. They're offering to do things virtually. Yeah, the strength is our community. I don't have a better answer.
No, and we have definitely noticed that as a United Way, right? Understanding that we've launched our COVID response fund and folks picked up immediately. We launched our anti-racism community fund, and people picked up immediately. And folks are turning out to help out our most vulnerable neighbors. And I think y'all are exemplary examples of that. And so, Lisa, I'll try to be fair on this last question, and we'll go to you first and then to Alan and Maggie, so we'll reverse it a little bit. So this pandemic has presented new challenges for all of us. And while organizations such as yours are working hard to find the best solutions, we need to be able to lean on communities, just as you all stated earlier. So this question for all of you is, how can the community support you and your organization right now?
Volunteers first and foremost. We're fortunate to still be able to use volunteers in our food pantry program, and there's several of them. I know all of them. So, and this is pre-COVID, that's why no one has a mask on. Just want to be very clear. We have very strict protocols for the volunteers we do still have coming in. So volunteers, which you have our website up, they can go on and sign up through there. And then honestly, I know it's preaching to the choir, and we always say it, and I always hate being the one to say it, but money. So at this point, without the food drives, not being able to do the food drives, with some of our partners having less supply, we are having to purchase food to continue to do the services we're doing. We're getting some really great prices, and what's been unique about the pandemic is it's given us the opportunity to kind of help re-educate our donors on, you know, we can buy some foods for 19 cents a pound. So, you know, sometimes money is just a better, and right now, money has really good purchasing power. So volunteers and monetary donations.
All right, Alan.
Here we go. So, I'll just put this out there, and this is something that people can do just because they are good people, and everybody can really just check on the senior adults in their world. They could be your family, they could be your friends, they can be your neighbors, they can be retired co-workers, but just take, 3 minutes, call. Because what we're finding, these are the people who are not, Zooming it every Friday, but more and more people are Zooming, so really that's something that everybody can do. Now, if you want to help at Meals on Wheels Wake County, right, we have both the volunteer delivery effort, but we've also seen people in the community just organize some food drives for us, some pet food drives. People have made us cloth masks. People have written cards, letters, notes of encouragement. And our board this month or in September, they're going to do a drive to just collect some puzzle books that we can distribute, again, so that people can keep their minds stimulated. And, so there are some opportunities that you can volunteer and that you don't have to have face-to-face contact with people. And I think maybe the last thing that as you're going through, please, if you see some people who can benefit from getting food delivered to their homes, refer them to us. You can do that either on our website. There's an online application and we can do that, or you can call our office any morning and we'll be glad to take the information and get people up on into the program. So, check on the people in your network, refer anybody you need to us, and then finally we've got a way you can volunteer.
Great, thanks, Alan. Maggie, you're
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, Lisa, you have to ask for money, so do not apologize for that. And Alan, that is such a valid point. Such a good reminder to check on our people. So thanks for saying that. At table, it's easy. Come and eat, right? We all have to eat. We all want to be around people and find our people. So come and eat. Come order a meal. Come order food for your office or your families. You can call your order in. It's super easy. We'll even put it in your car for you. Everything's social distance and safe. Or you can come and stand in line and chat with people and order your food. And like I said, the food is good. And so come and eat with us. That is number one way to support us. You can follow us on social media or on our website and see what we have going on, see our people, see people like on this Alaric eating 8 cookies at a time. So just come and see us.
Great, and we do have a question from Joe, just generally for all of our panelists. I'd love to know how you and your teams are preventing burnout when you're having to do so much right now, right? I think our nonprofit community is taking on such a heavy burden in caring for others before themselves right now. And so what are you doing within your teams to support each other?
Yeah, I can go first. Absolutely, 100%. That's so true. We listen to each other, number one, and first and foremost. We lean on each other, we support each other. We have staff meetings regularly and talk about how we're feeling. When COVID, right in March, when COVID started, we said, hey, what do we want to do, team? All 13 of us sat down. Do we want to stay? Do we want to close, right? Does staff feel uncomfortable, not safe? And every single person said, no, we want to be here. We want to be present. We want to support our community that we love so much. And they said, and look, like, we're fortunate. We have a place to go to every day with people we love and have passion and have purpose, which is huge, which I think so many people are looking for purpose right now. And so I think our staff really feels that we have that purpose. Now, did we burn out? Absolutely. So we actually took a whole week and shut down, and everyone had a paid week off and just went. I didn't hear from a single one of them. And so we'll continue to do that, because you're right. People are working really, really hard. And by the end of the day, they are completely done, and just and somehow they wake up just thankful to be here every day. So I think that's such a good reminder. But checking on each other, supporting each other. Closing early on, we're closing early next Wednesday, and we're just going to share a meal together and hang out. So just trying to find ways to give ourselves some sort of a break.
Right. And the other thing that we got that our people love, all of our staff people, we got a t-shirt. So, we were excited, but again, it was just something to, people can wear and be a part of a team, and to help us really bond, because unlike Maggie, we only spend one day a week working together, and this is a group that we've worked closely over the years, and people really are invested in everybody's life. So how do we continue to make that connection with our staff? And again, unlike the other groups, we can't take the whole week off, but we have closed down a couple of Fridays. And so just again, so that people can just take a break, not feel compelled to answer the phone or answer the emails. And I think, that's been very helpful. And we're all just confident that we're going to come through this.
And for Urban, for our food pantry, we serve over 30,000 residents each year with 2 staff people. So I very much worry about their burnout. We do close down every Friday. That's our cleaning day. So they're working 1 less day a week, but they're doing 50% more work in 4 days. But the truth is, when they're able to take a day off, I can't get them to, because they know how important what they do is. So we do, like Maggie and her staff, we do a lot of talking, we try and do a lot of laughing, and just kind of, get through each day. But Fridays off, everybody seems to love.
And we just had a question from Nick coming around. What adjustments have you made during COVID that will remain when we're no longer restricted, or the restrictions are a little less stringent?
So this is Alan from Meals on Wheels. And again, I hope the thing that we keep really will be some of these new partnerships in the community that we've made, so that we can continue to provide the meals that we were providing, but to enhance those meals with local fresh produce and those sorts of things. And I think that's been a very good thing for our people.
For me, to be completely honest, we have no idea. We are literally taking it day by day. I don't know if anyone else is with me in that, but day by day, we are just hanging on climbing up, trying to hold on. I think, realistically, I think we're going to be doing curbside for a while. We're unlike any restaurant, another restaurant where you can go sit outside and make a reservation, or you can sit outside and there's not that many people. With 50 people in line all the time, it's just really hard to have outside tables and inside tables. And so I think we're just going to be doing curbside for quite some time. But I think what we'll keep is the thought of continuing to build community, and however we do that, how do we keep bringing people together? How do we invite more people to the table? And how do we just be in community better? So we'll keep that, and we'll just keep pushing towards building that here. But I don't know. That's the answer. I have no idea.
And for us, I think, like Alan, I hope that we can keep some of these new partnerships that we have, like discovering that wholesale distributors are able to work with us and we're able to supply more product and better product. I would love to keep that piece of it. As far as the service model we're doing now, I can't wait to get rid of it. I don't like the drive-through. I don't like the not having the client choice. I can't wait to be done with that. But right now, we know at least through the end of the year and probably until early next summer this is what we're stuck with. So we'll do the best we can while we have to.
Great, thanks y'all. We'll give another few seconds if there are any last minute questions that come through. If not, I'm gonna pass it over to Nick for our wrap up. All right, so from Karen, I work for First Citizens Bank based out of Raleigh, running a training program, and we will be bringing lunches for speakers and 6 participants. I'm wondering if we could potentially order food from the group and have someone, Maggie, maybe you share a story about a place at the table. So maybe if you all could connect after. Karen, if you want to reach out to Maggie, website, and I believe contact information was shared, but it looks like Maggie was excited. I think any business catering options right now are definitely exciting. Nick, I'll pass it over to you.
Appreciate that, Jeff. And definitely want to thank Maggie, Alan, and Lisa for these incredible stories of impact. These 3 organizations represent a partner list of over 120 organizations that we're very lucky to be able to work with and walk alongside service to the Triangle community. I want to take the opportunity to remind folks of United Way's mission to eradicate poverty and increase social mobility through the power of partnerships. And poverty has the burden often on the people who are experiencing it to strip them of their humanity. I think no matter who you are, whether you have resources or not, you understand the physical importance of food, but also the mental importance of food and how food and choice and freedom and connections to other people can restore some of that humanity lost when you are experiencing poverty. So I just want to remind folks of that. Also remind folks that our Unwrapped series will be happening on Fridays for the remainder of the calendar year. You can check out our website for the upcoming schedule. We have great panelists and great topics of discussion lined up for the general Triangle community to continue to learn and hear the stories of impact of these local heroes. And so with that, we'll give you back a few minutes and thank you all for joining us and see you all soon.